All right, so let's move on to the next segment in this episode. If you're listening on YouTube, we had an episode yesterday about the secondary, about Jason Verrett, Akella Witherspoon, Emmanuel Mosley, all those guys who we want back, who we don't think is going to come back. But if you're listening on podcast, you obviously just heard that, and now we're going to be talking about a guy that I absolutely love. I think he is the best outside free agent the 49ers can acquire, and that guy is Carl Lawson. I mentioned him to Aiden a little bit before the show. I know you did some homework on him. Aiden's all in as well. So we're pretty big fans of Carl Lawson here. And Carl Lawson, fourth round pick, got drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. He's really fast, 4.6, 40-yard dash. He's kind of a speed rusher, though he's not limited to just being a speed rusher. Also, I don't know if you saw this, Aiden. The dude had 35 reps of 225 on the bench, which is 98th percentile for edge players. And he's mostly a speed guy.
Yeah, so, that's pretty impressive.
Superb athlete. Then he came in as a rookie. He had 8.5 sacks. 2020, you look at his numbers, you go, oh, he only had 5.5 sacks. He's just like an average player, whatever. No. 64 pressures. And you said he was like number one in hits or knockdowns. What was it?
He led the NFL in both quarterback hits and knockdowns. And he was third in pressures behind, I think it was Aaron Donald and Ogba for the Dolphins. And as we saw last year, Bosa was fantastic getting pressures, and I mean, they'll just pressure the quarterback right into each other's arms. That's what we were really missing this year with Hyder. Hyder was really good, but I think he played himself into some money. He's 29. Why not go for a younger, more athletic, stronger, I guess, version for a little bit more? And if, again, the numbers have to work, but he's a guy that I really, really like. And I would agree with Matt. He's my favorite non-49er free agent.
Yeah, so you look at kind of how the 49ers team is built right now. I think on defense, we just talked about the secondary. There's some major question marks there. However, I think that you can I think it's easier to find average players that you can work with within your defense at corner, at safety, at those positions. If you just have average guys on defensive line, it's tough to make your defense really work. It's tough to have a flourishing defense. We saw that last year with the 49ers. I mean, we see some of these stud linebackers. We see Fred Warner have an amazing career year, but there's not the pressure. And you play against a team like the Bills, and the Bills game was the one that really said it all to me. It was like, okay, these guys, they're not going to be that good. Like, you're missing Bosa. That's the one that was like so bad where it's just like, okay, this is too tough. And there's not going to be a D Ford next year. DeForest Buckner is gone. So you don't have that star power on the defensive line that you did in 2019 with one of the best passing defenses ever. I don't know if you know that, Aiden, but it is like one of the best ever. And they did that because every single play, the quarterback knows that one of those guys is going to be in the backfield. If you can get Carl Lawson opposite Nick Bosa, I think that you can maybe not quite return to that form because you don't have DeForest Buckner. But say Javon Kinlaw takes a step up. Say Eric Armstead kind of gets to play a better, like a role that's more suited for him, because I'm still a believer in Eric Armstead. I know he had a down year, but he's a guy that needs help around him, and then that's where he really dominates. If you have those two guys playing well, you have a healthy Nick Bosa, and you put in Carl Lawson on the other side, that is absolutely terrifying. I think that brings them back to be one of those defensive lines that, up there with the Steelers, up there with all these marquee pass rushers. And that's what the 49ers defense wants to do. That's what they're trying to build. They're trying to build that group up front. You have to pay those guys. The D Ford trade and sign, it may go down as one of the worst deals that the 49ers ever make in their franchise history. Like, if you really look at it, they traded a second-round pick for a guy that played like 10 games and then had a career-ending injury, and they paid him like $80 million. And I know they're not going to pay him all the money. Obviously, it gets cut. But that was a big swing and a miss. You got to take another swing. If you're going to be teams that win in the NFL, go after guys that are undervalued by other teams. The fact that the Bengals are letting Carl, or if they do let Carl Lawson walk, if they're not able to re-sign them, because it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, that's the Bengals being the Bengals right there. It really is. Why do you not keep this guy? He's their best player on their defensive line. They have a ton of money. They don't have really any other players. They have Geno Atkins. They just traded Carlos Dunlap. Like, they're a mess. This is the guy that they should be building around. Maybe not building around, but they should have him there. They should pair him with another edge. If they're going to let him walk, capitalize on that. Bring him here, have him play that D Ford role. I think that he can play in better, like, more rundowns.
Mhm.
I think D Ford was a little bit more limited. Now, D Ford, one of the best when he was healthy, one of the best pure speed guys in the league, if not the best. But Carl
Best
Lawson is up there. And I think
best
Carl
first
Lawson's a
step that
little,
I've ever seen is D Ford.
yeah. No, but I think that he can play that D Ford role. We see the Niners in, 3rd and 5 plus. We're gonna see him out there, wide 9. He's gonna be ready to go. And if you have him one-on-one with the tackle, I don't know if you've ever seen some of these Carl Lawson reps one-on-one with the tackle. There's one against the Cowboys where he like throws the guy on the ground and then just pops the quarterback. I think it was when they had Andy Dalton back there. But he's special, man. He is really, really special. And I just can't believe that he's going to be a free agent. And he's not even getting, it's not like he's making $20 million a year. He's not making Shaq Barrett money. I love it. I love it. So I'll let you get into a little bit. I kind of rambled there for a second.
No, I'm all in. I think he would be a great addition. The key to the 49ers defense is getting pressure with 4 and dropping the other 7 back into coverage. And if you think about a D line with Nick Bosa, Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, and Carl Lawson, those are guys who are going to win one-on-one matchups very consistently. And if I'm Carl Lawson, I'm looking at that defensive line and I'm like, they're going to pay me close to or exactly what I want. And I'm going to be able to feast alongside 3 other guys who are really good. And I'm going to get more than 5.5 sacks. I think D Ford in the 10 games that he played had 6 or 7 sacks. And that's a direct correlation of playing alongside Nick Bosa, who will pressure the quarterback right into your arms. I think Nick Bosa should be getting on the phone right now saying, Carl, I know that you have all these offers, but you need to be coming to San Francisco. We can do something special. And obviously Matt also wants you here. So you definitely
That's the big seller right there, right?
that's what I'm saying. So I love it. I think you touched on every point. And he's really a guy that's being, I think, undervalued. I think he's every bit as talented as Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett has the sack numbers. And we saw what he did in the Super Bowl, but I think Carl Lawson's a really, really good player who, if we can get him on 3 for 32, I think you said, love it. Absolutely love it. Lock up the D line a little bit, because I think that means the D line is locked up for the next 3 years, right?
I mean, like, yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, that you have 4 guys there for the next 3
Mhm.
years, and that's really
Love it.
exciting.
And they can grow together, all relatively young. I think Armstead would be the oldest. And what is he, 27, 28?
Mm-hmm. I love that you bring up Shaq Barrett, because if you remember, he was on the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just for everyone listening, my roommate's a Broncos fan, and also one of my other really good friends is a Broncos fan. So I always hear a ton about these Broncos guys. They love Shaq Barrett. They were like, why would we let this guy walk? This makes no sense. He's a stud. He's going to be really good. You see, I mean, he hasn't really made that much money. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Now, this offseason, he's about to get broken off. But some of these guys take a while to develop, and this is quarterback. But look at Josh Allen. People wrote him off after his rookie year, and he's a stud. But this happens with pass rushers. And so I had a couple deals in mind. One of them was 3 for 32. Another one was 4 for 50. I don't know. Okay, if I'm Carl Lawson and I'm Carl Lawson's agent, I don't really want to sign that. And I know some people are probably like, damn, that's a lot of money. 4 years, $50 million for a guy that had 5.5 sacks. Yeah, but he's going to do better. That's the thing. He's going to do better. I think the best move that the best move that Carl Lawson can make is sign a 1-year, $10 million deal with the 49ers, fully guaranteed or whatever it is. And the Niners, we've talked about it all episode, but they got to make the cap work. That's the hard part about all these deals. If you sign a 1-year, $10 million with the 49ers, there is no reason to believe that you won't have 10 plus sacks this next season. Another stat I haven't brought up yet in this episode, he was 7th in the NFL in a stat called sacks created. So basically what it is he's the first guy getting there but a lot of times he's not credited with the sack, because he steps up in another guy's arms. I'm sure that Nick Bosa was also way up there in 2019 for that stat, but I think that stat's really important because it resembles the guy that the Niners need. They need a guy that can get there first. Because if someone gets there for like right off the bat, you don't really necessarily need to make that sack. You don't need to make that tackle because the second wave, the third wave, those guys are coming. Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead, they almost command Eric Armstead. I think he commands a double team more than like every other player, but like five. Like he's top 10 in getting double teamed every single year, and he has been like that for many seasons. Even in 2019 when you had Buck next to him. So I think like that kind of stat, that kind of mold of a player is what they're looking for, and Carl Lawson is the best bang for your buck in this deal by a mile. I think. I really think so. I'm all in. I want me some Carl Lawson on the defensive line. This is probably this is the guy I am most excited for out of this whole offseason besides Trey Lance. And I mean, I know you're not as high on me on Trey Lance, and we won't get into him today, but Carl Lawson is my defensive guy. That's the guy I want them to go after.
Carl Lawson to the moon.
Absolutely. All right. If you guys are listening on YouTube, make sure to sub, make sure to like, make sure to come back tomorrow. We will be talking about, so this is on Tuesday. Yeah, we'll be talking about Jimmy G on Wednesday. We'll be talking about maybe some offensive line guys, doing some Sam Darnold stuff. But we're going to be having a lot of content out these next couple weeks. If you're listening on podcasts, we're going to wrap it up right here. Make sure to subscribe, do all that stuff, like, review, all that. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you guys later.